Okay, so in the last video, we left right here. The zero product property said that I can take these two factors that were set equal to 0 and split them up. That meant that I can take each factor individually and set them equal to 0. This will put me in a position so that I can very easily solve for x. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Remember, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. That will get x by itself, and I will have x equals 0 minus 6, which is negative 6. Okay, then I also have to do this factor. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. X equals 0 plus 3, so that is equal to positive 3, and these are my two answers. If I have two factors, I should have two answers, okay? So you should always have two answers. We're always going to have two factors here. So this is the same thing we've been doing, but it says solve. Solve means get it in the form of x equals this and x equals that. So take it the next step and set your factors equal to 0. Okay, let's do another example. I have this example over here is 2x squared plus 16x equals 12x. The very first thing we should notice is that this equation is not equal to 0. And we want it to be. So we need to take care of that first before we do anything. No greatest common factor, no nothing. We have to do this first. So I am going to subtract 12x from both sides. And my term with the x always goes in the middle. So I have 2x squared minus 12x plus 16 equals 0. And now I'm going to factor this. The very first thing you should always look for when you're factoring is a greatest common factor. And I see that if I divide everything here by 2, I still have nice numbers. So I have a greatest common factor of 2 here. And I'm left with 2 divided by 2 is 1x squared. Negative 12x divided by 2 is negative 6x. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. And don't forget that equals 0. All right, again, once you're here, you need to keep going. So you're going to factor what's inside the parentheses. So I'm going to find the factors of 8 that get me negative 6. I have 1 and 8 and 4 and 2. 4 and 2 is going to be what I want to work with. And I know that x minus 4 and x minus 2, because negative 4 plus negative 2 gets me negative 6. And then again, that equals 0. And don't forget your GCF of 2. All right, again, this part's not new. And so we know how to do this up until here. Now we need to solve for x though. So since my two factors are set equal to 0, I can do the zero product property. So I'm going to work over here and I'm going to split them up. I'm going to have x minus 4 equals 0. And I'm going to have x minus 2 equals 0. Now listen carefully, we don't do anything with the greatest common factor now because it doesn't make sense to say 2 equals 0. That's not a true statement. 2 does not equal 0. So you need the greatest common factor in order to be able to factor this successfully. But once we get to the end of the problem, you can just stop talking about the 2. You need the 2 all the way up to here, but then you don't do anything when we are at the last step with the 2. So I'm going to get x by itself. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides in order to do that. So x is equal to 4. And remember, I have two answers. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So x is also equal to 2. 4 and 2. Alrighty. Now I have one last thing to show you at the bottom of this page in a new video.